Hi everybody. Today I'm really excited to be talking to the lovely Leo Walton in America. Whereabouts are you, Leo, in America?
I'm in the Chesapeake Bay in Virginia, aboard
Virginia.
my aboard my 56-foot motor yacht, the Sea Spirit.
Oh
You see
wow.
out the window, there's boats out there.
Oh wow. Are you living on there?
I've been living on boats for the biggest part of 3 decades.
Oh wow.
So I've sailed all over the place,
Oh
and
wow. And you're amazing because we're not going to talk about this today. What we're talking about today is your experience of sun gazing. Okay.
yeah,
The book you've written about sun
hmm
gazing. Um,
that's
because
right.
this is something that I would like to just really give some attention to, because I've been in the healing world for many decades, and I
That's
know at the
right.
moment a lot of people now, I mean, I walk barefoot a lot. People are talking about grounding and earthing and all
Exactly.
these different healing modalities that are being talked about more than ever before. And so today we're going to talk about sun gazing and what happened to you. You've written a book on it. And also, I really also want to do another interview with you and Heidi, because you have a beautiful, beautiful romantic love story happening
We do.
for us, which is a
It's
beautiful
been a
thing.
magical story. Yes.
It
Well,
is.
thank you.
And I really want to bring both of you on and talk about your incredible journey and your tours around Egypt and all of the pyramids, and that's a whole other side to who you are
Whole
and
nother
what's happening in
story.
your life at the moment. But today, Leo, I'm going to hand it over to you. Just tell me a little bit about what your story was in relation to your sun gazing and how you got into it.
Well, what really got me involved in the sun gazing was I had developed cataracts pretty badly on my eyes. My primary optometrist had been telling me for years, Leo, we need to hook you up so you can go get your eyes, have surgery, and get these cataracts off. And I've learned sun gazing. I started doing an investigation. I looked at all different cultures that had done sun gazing, and I
Leo,
located
one moment. A lot of
an
people
east.
won't even, Leo,
Yes.
a lot of people won't even know what sun gazing is. Can you just tell
Okay.
them what sun gazing is?
Sun gazing is basically where you train your eyes to be able to stare naked eyed at the sun. And the goal is to get up to 45 minutes duration. And there's times of the day when it's safe to do that. The first 45 minutes of sunrise and the last 45 minutes of sunset, there's no ultraviolet rays. And it's the ultraviolet rays that damage your eyes. So it's safe to look at the sun at that time. And you begin at 10 seconds duration. The first time your eyes will water like crazy. And it takes you to get up to about a minute before that goes away. But each time you gaze, you add 10 seconds. This is a HRM protocol that I used for one of my experiments. I
Okay.
did two sun gazing experiments. And it took me a full year going and aggressively sun gazing. It literally, I at the end of the year, I had gazed for 90 minutes duration, staring at the sun to train my eyes to get up to be able, 90 hours, excuse me, 90 hours, not 90 minutes, but 90 hours total. And I got up to the ability to stare at the sun for 45 minutes. And I still felt like I noticed that in the mornings, once I got to where I was staring for longer periods, that I had this really crustation in my eyes. And I said, I believe that is the proteins from the cataracts that is actually dissolving off of my eyes.
Wow.
So at the end of this HRM protocol, I fulfilled his protocol based on his theories and his program. I followed it pretty religiously
So take us
because I wanted
back.
to give an
Take
accurate
us back.
control.
Take us back to the bit where what? How did you notice you had cataracts? Take us back in the story a little bit now.
Uh, well, my primary optometrist that I've been going to for probably 20 years has been telling me I had cataracts and to plan surgery in the future. And they come out in that time with a lot of people. You can go get this surgery where they do the lens replacement. And then I learned about the sun gazing. And I was doing a lecture at Edgar Casey's ARE with the International Association for Near-Death Studies group. I was invited there to lecture in 2014. And there was an optometrist in the audience when I was doing my lecture. And I started talking to him about, or to the audience, about some of the things that I'd gotten into with sun gazing. And he became very enamored with me and invited me over to his place in another city. And he did all these tests and all. And we've become really good friends. But he wanted me to get lens replacement. And I told him, I said, I'm determined to do this experiment, I said, and see where it goes. Okay, so after I did a full year, I felt like it was not enough. It was during the winter months, and where I'm located, the sun really moves south in the wintertime. So I could tell a difference in the intensity. So I wanted to stare longer duration in the middle of summer. So what I did another about 7 months of gazing, and each gaze was 45 minutes in duration. So I actually had the opportunity to have more heat. I said, I believe it's the heat that's actually melting the cataracts off. And so I guess, yes, it was really good. So anyway, at the end of this second experiment, my vision was worse. And that's when I started saying, okay, I've been a failure with my experiments and I need to go on. And I contacted my primary optometrist. He wrote me a prescription for a doctor, a surgeon in another community. So I go there. I've now had 3 optometrists say, hey, you need to have this done. And I finally gave up. Okay, my experiments are a failure. Let's go get it done. I get there. He runs me through all the tests, and when we're done, he hands me a prescription for glasses. And I'm like, hey, dude, I've done driven here to get my lens replacement. What's going on? He says, well, Leo, looking at the test results, he said, if I use a scale of 1 to 4, 1 being the least and 4 being the most, he said, your left eye is a 0. You have absolutely no cataracts on your left eye. And he says, your right eye, he says, you're a good solid 1. He said, which is the least. You're just beginning to get a cataract on there.
Oh,
he says, so,
you said
that's that. Right. That's me too. He says, so you're not a candidate for lens replacement. Well, I was really appalled. How did this happen? How did 3 optometrists? And at that moment, in the energy of that conversation, I thought my whole experiment was a failure. But once I left and started thinking about what was going on, I said, my experiment was a huge success.
Amazing. What an amazing story, Leo.
Right.
And you've written a book, yeah?
I wrote a book. It's called Addicted to the Sun, Book of Miracles, because it was many, many healings that I got from staring at the sun for that duration. And I still stare at the sun. I started this experiment. It was March 1st, 2014. So I've been a sun gazer. I'm a mature sun gazer now. It's been 8 years ago.
Wow.
So that's still sun gaze, but I only do it for just a few minutes because once you attune yourself to the sun, you automatically become attuned to all these other energies that we are swimming in. But because you're not on that frequency, they're not having a big influence on you. So you're getting energy from the entire environment all the time. And one of the big things that happened to me, other than the vision being improved, and it's still improved, was I lost the desire to eat. I lost all my hunger. By the time I got up to 20 minutes, and this is a common symptom of sun gazing, because
Wow.
once you are attuned to the sun, you really don't need food. A lot of the, and I proved that, and I'll explain that. And I eventually went 90 days with no food to prove that I could go without food.
Wow.
And that's part one of the experiments in the book. I go in there, I called it my journey. And I was under doctor's care. All these things I've done, I've been under doctor's care, even with the sun gazing and with the going without food.
What kind
And
of doctor, Leo? How did you find the doctor that could take you through this? A holistic practitioner, like a naturopath?
Well, I met the optometrist in a lecture I was doing. So he was interested in that stuff to be at the lecture anyway. And he's kind of he's a forward thinking optometrist, you know, and he's getting to retirement age. It could be unlucky to lose him in the system. But anyway, the 90 days, what happened with me on that, I went and had a full physical, blood work and everything on the 74th day of my fast. And my primary physician, who I've been with for a long time, said, okay, now if this testing comes back in it with a negative connotation in it, says, what's your behavior will be like? I said, I'll go back to eating immediately. She said, okay. Well, it took about 2 weeks for the results to get to me. And everything was perfect, but one thing. And that perfection was I was deficient in protein by 10%. Only 10% deficient. So I was barely didn't make it. And I said, okay, I'll start eating now. That's why it only lasted 90 days. But what I learned in my research, and I knew this, I used to take a massive amount of supplements and eat a high-fat diet and stuff like that. And I cut everything out. But one thing I learned through my research is a lot of the, particularly the Indians, the Eastern Indians, they drink buttermilk. Even when they're fasting, they drink buttermilk for the protein. Okay.
I've heard about buttermilk for ulcerative colitis.
Yeah, they're big into ghee, and buttermilk is really big with them. As a matter of fact, my guru I learned from, he claims that he never eats, and all he ever consumes is buttermilk and water, and that's it.
Wow. So let me get this right. Your 90-day fast was a water fast, yeah?
No, it was a food. No, well, it was water and black coffee.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I drank black coffee. I also in my book is a recipe for my rainbow water. And my rainbow water, I learned, it's a 48-hour process to make it from distill. The first thing I do is I electromagnetically charge it using triskelase and piezoelectric granite beneath it overnight. And it actually puts a torus in the water. So you get the electromagnetic field coming in there. So it structures the water to be the exact same frequency as our cellular level in our body.
I'm thinking, Leo? I'm thinking the magic wand right now.
Exactly. And I've been watching all that, what Heidi's doing with that now. And yes, I'm really excited to get to London and start playing with that.
Yeah.
And because it's basically doing the same thing I was doing with my water. It really is. Yeah. It's a real entanglement of energy fields that they've got going on there. And I'm going to do some really great research on it over time, believe me, because I'm really interested in devices like that. I got into the TENS unit that Sheely invented from having a herniated disc. And then I got into all the, remember the acupuncture when they used to put the needles in, they'd wire electricity into it and they would electrify you. Now you can buy these devices that electrify you without the needles.
Yes.
So I've experimented and had numerous of those and played with them over the years. So I'm big on gadgetry and modern frequencies that we haven't had.
It's
the right
future, isn't it? It's the future of medicine. So I just want to, look, when I was in Thailand, like 10 years ago, and then I was there sort of every year, and I was teaching on detox retreats. One of the things that we used to do on the beach, I met some people that were sun gazing, and we used to go because they've got the beautiful sunsets there, you know, and the sunrise wasn't very good at sunrise, but better at sunset. And we used to do it for 5 or 10 minutes, but I'm really curious to read your book now. And how would we do that in the UK? Just get somewhere. I know down the road they get a sunset, but I hardly ever see sunset in this, where
well, let's honestly, UK is not the best place to be.
No, it's not. I mean, another reason I need to move.
No, you know, it's a rare event there to have the sun, and at the times that you need it.
Exactly.
You know, to have safe sun gazing.
Exactly.
And
so you and Heidi have got amazing plans. Like I said, I'm going to get you both on because I really have got some amazing plans around healing, and I won't say any more, but you know, really, really exciting plans. And so you're sort of a living example of how you have literally healed yourself from cataracts through sunbathing. And your book, is it describing exactly what to do? Like, you just do you do it with soft focus, like in yoga? You know, when I'm talking about, like, look at your arm or your fingers, I talk about a soft focus. Right. Are you actually staring, or are you more? Is it a more of an open eyes with a softness?
Well, I probably stare. I probably, I probably, you become electromagnetically connected to the sun. Yes. So it's a natural thing. Once you get your eyes trained to take the intensity, it takes a while. It's actually 3 phases you go through. The first phase you go through, which is about 3 months of the program, it pretty much resets everything in your brain. You know, your pineal gland, your pituitary gland, hypothalamus, all of that gets used to the intensity of the sun. And then it goes into your body. It starts spreading down all the energy because the pathways are open. And your body is being like going to the gym, been working out, you know, and it's ready to accept this high voltage. It's now going through your optic center. Yeah. It takes a while to get that. But anyway, then it goes through your body. It's about another 90 days. So you're going to have healings occur to you as it moves through your body, because it aligns all your chakras. Everything gets in tune with the sun and the earth. It's real important. It's a bipolar world we live in, you know, it's feminine and masculine. Yeah. And once we're all attuned to the earth if we ground ourselves to it, but we've been told, you know, when penicillin came out, we were told that you can't get in the sun. You got to stay out of the sun because you'll have bad symptoms. You know, the sun will really hurt you. So more and more drugs. That's right. Yeah. And the human skin is the largest organ on our body. And if you take and coat it with chemicals, all those chemicals go inside your body. The cancer from the sun is created from our diet and bad lifestyle and chemicals inside. If you have cancer, the sun will make it worse. But if you don't have cancer, it's not going to give you cancer.
And if you put sun cream on with the chemicals, it's just heating those chemicals into the body, isn't it?
That's right. I've never used it. I've never used sunscreen. I used to make, even when they came out with it, I used to make my own sunscreen. Yeah. You can mix different oils together and get like a 20, you know, 25 actually. Yeah. Just mixing, like, you know, olive oil, flaxseed oil, a couple, I can't remember now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Oh, it's so fascinating. It's so exciting. You know, I'm so happy that, you know, like 10, 20 years ago, even 5 years ago, like these things were kind of like a bit new agey sort of stuff and people doing it. But now it feels like, it's like how people talk about grounding, you know, grounding. Right. They put it in the papers apparently. And it's like, yeah, walking barefoot.
Exactly, you know, right.
People are talking more and more and more about the natural health that we've got. We have this beautiful planet, you know, Mother Earth.
Exactly.
And we're created to live in harmony with the earth, you know.
Exactly.
And, to think that we're so removed from it, you know. So I love your story, Leo, and you've got so much to share.
Well, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
it's amazing. Is there anything that you'd like to just finish with what your plans are? Just
Um,
a little flavour of what's coming with you.
you talking about future
Yeah,
works,
well, I
future
know that you're
projects?
going to be flying over to the UK really soon.
That's
We've
right.
both got a
That's
family
right.
wedding next Friday, haven't we? I've got a
That's
family
right.
wedding and you've got
Yeah.
a family wedding.
I've got a granddaughter getting married. Boy, that makes you feel old. Yeah, it does. I'm like,
Oh,
oh my golly, I'm going to my granddaughter's wedding. I remember when she was born and all that, but anyway, we're looking for a good time up in the mountains of Virginia. Then I'm flying back to London and hook up with Heidi and get going again. But we're both writing on our journeys that we spend. We do a lot of travel. We went to 9 different countries in the last 3 years, and spent a lot of time in some of them. And we both write. So Heidi just finished her first novel. We actually went to Delphi, Greece for her to edit it there because it's about the Oracle of Delphi. I'm real proud of her, and she writes so eloquently.
yeah, she
I wish I
does.
could. I'm a technical guy, just the facts, but she writes so beautifully. The English have a much broader, perspective of things. But me, I've written. I've got a second book in edit. It's called The Rare One. It's actually 2 books. I had another book that had about 150 poems in it. One of the things I gained from this was writing poetry. And once I had written the book and was editing it and had the poems and was kind of working them together, I realized then, once I had them, I said, a lot of these poems actually reflect periods in the story about the injuries and the healing. It's a book of healing, it's romance, all of that stuff.
Wow.
And it's all true. And I said, what I'm going to do, so I pulled 80 poems out of the other book and put them in this book. But I strategically placed the poems at the times that I actually wrote those poems. So it's kind of a artsy approach
Oh, I
to
like
doing a
that. I
story,
like
2
that. It's so
perspectives.
creative.
Yeah, it's from both sides of the brain, the
Yeah.
left and the right. So it's
As you were
really,
saying that, as you were saying that, I was just thinking, I used to write songs and I was singing in a band
yeah,
and stuff. But about 7 or 8 years ago, I took some of my favorite poems from amazing people and I recorded them to music. And it was the most amazing album. But of course, it was other people's material mostly, a couple were
sure.
mine. So I couldn't really sell it. And as you were saying that, I
That's
was thinking, oh,
interesting.
maybe I could read Leo's poems and put them to music. But, the whole of creativity, to bring that kind of creativity into this is actually pumping the frequency of healing, of natural health, of creativity,
That's right.
all
That's
of
right.
it. Bring it on, bring it in.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
love it.
I'm kind of I can see the trees and I can see the forest, which makes me a systems guy. That's the way I go about everything. It's always a system.
Mm.
So that's the way the cosmos operates. So I'm lucky enough to be a systems guy and recognize how it works.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and the current book that I'm writing is actually called The Cosmic Circuit of Man, and I detail in ways it's never been talked about before. And I actually use some Egyptian statues, famous Egyptian statues of pharaohs, and I'm even doing one of Cleopatra. But
Wow.
I use these statues to demonstrate how we connect to the sun and the earth and how the energy all goes through our bodies, and we're one. And I'm excited about it. I'm about 80% done with it.
Wow.
The way we write, we travel and we write for a while, and then writing goes away to take care of the real world, and then we go back to writing again. So there's spurts. This book I'm writing now, I've been working on it probably about 9 years.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
yeah. So it's been a long journey to get to this point.
Wow.
But
It's so much easier to write. I wrote a book that took me about 4 years and and I couldn't do it at home. I could only do it when I was traveling, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
Something
yeah.
about being away, and you know, where you like, especially if you're in a country where you can afford to eat out for every meal as well.
That's right. That's
You
right.
know,
Yeah, yeah.
so your whole focus is on the writing, and you're whetting my appetite for that part of me
Yeah,
as well, that would love to do that, you know. And you're
you're
such an
absolutely right.
inspiration.
That's
Yeah.
right.
You
We
both,
both
you and
think,
Heidi, are massive inspirations. And I've said to
oh,
Heidi,
thank
tell
you.
her
Yeah.
before,
And
because
you're
people,
you're inspiration to us also, you know. We follow you all the time for a long
I know
time.
you do. I always see Leo's shared my little post, you know, and I think, oh bless, thank you.
It's funny. Yeah.
Yeah, well, we all need to support.
We've all got good hearts and generous people
Yeah.
and
And
kind spirit
we're living our lives, you know, we're following our heart
organically. Organically.
organically.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And
Leo,
that's
it's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you today. It's the first time we've
thanks, Shaki.
met, so to
Yes,
speak.
absolutely.
And I really looking forward. I really how long are you in the UK for, by the way? I'd love to connect with you and Heidi.
Uh, we don't have any real definite plans other than that business thing that you were talking about with Heidi.
Yeah.
Until January 1st, making plans to go to India for 4 months.
I like the sound of that. And you're talking about possibly doing a tour, aren't you?
Yeah. Heidi's all fired up about. We've got the opportunity in this particular one of the legs of the tour to bring in anyone we want to go on this tour.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like we're all going into new areas that we haven't been in. So it's a new adventure. So it's kind of like going on an adventure with Heidi and Captain Leo. You know, it's kind of that thing. But it's structured to them. But then we're going to try and put our spin on it. You know, Heidi
Yeah.
with her tarot. And she's such an intuitive. She really is. When she says, I just have a feeling to do this, I usually just say, yes, dear.
And I love Heidi to bits. We've made a really lovely connection, and
Oh, good.
yeah, really love Heidi. I think you're an amazing couple, and I really
Yes,
both in person.
she's a super lady, super lady. Yeah,
She really is.
I'm lucky.
Yeah. Well, look, have a great wedding next Friday.
Thank you.
I'm also at a wedding next Friday.
Oh,
All the
okay.
family are going, what are you wearing? I'm going, I don't know yet. I haven't thought about that yet.
I will have a tie on that day. That's it. Instead of my globe band shirt.
And then you're flying over, and I hope you have a great flight. And no doubt you and Heidi haven't seen each other for a few months, I guess, because you were in
yeah, a couple months. Yeah.
So
that's right.
Amazing.
It's been too long of a trip this time. But I had lots to do in America to get my boat. I'm actually got it for sale. This will probably be the last video done on the Sea Spirit.
Oh, wow.
I met with a broker yesterday, and he's got the keys, and all of my stuff is packed and ready to go when I'm leaving here from the boat on Friday. So, like I say,
wow,
tomorrow's the last full day here.
Wow.
Yeah.
Are you kind of like leaving America, or?
I'm going up into the mountains for the wedding, and then I'm headed back to London. So we'll hook up there.
So you're
yeah, I look forward to meeting you in person.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, I can keep talking to you for ages. The dog's hungry. It's dinner time, and it's been a pleasure and honor.
All right. Very nice.
Thank you so much for sharing your sun-gazing journey. And I'll put a link to your book. Can people get it on Amazon or?
Yes. Yeah. All of the ebook sites, and you can order a hard copy if you want, but the ebook is just as good nowadays, you know.
Well, we'll put a link in the comments below.
Okay.
Leo.
Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Shaki. Take care. See ya.
Bye.